야, 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 kit nem látom, megjött a mulatság. 야, 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 야. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir!
Ah! Watch what you're doing!
There's people walking here! I'm sick! Help me, please! Please, sir! Help me!
What's happened to you?
I've walked all the way from Kuttenberg, but so I can...
Wait,
Thank you, sir.
anytime.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
God's sake.
I'm interested.
So what are you...
Pro-
Take care.
Yeah.
Where's Johanka?
She's locked up at the rat house. Orders of the bishop.
Locked up? For what?
For heretical speeches. Run along now. If you want to chat about it, go and talk to that monk who smells like an apothecary shop. He's in a flap about it too. Good luck then.
Good health to you. What can I do for you?
How are things going here?
Quite well. It's a lot of work, but I have a feeling I'm doing something useful. Johanka and Brother Nicodemus showed me what to do, and I already know a thing or two.
Sounds good.
I have a roof over my head, enough to eat, and they even pay me a bit. It's really quite fine.
I'm glad to hear it. And you've had no trouble from anyone?
No, everyone has been kind. It's sweet of you to care, Henry. Good luck then.
What happened to Johanka?
Nothing good, I'm sorry to say. She was locked up by the papal inquisitor Bishop Yaroslav of Benešov. It seems he somehow caught wind of this preaching of hers. He's accused her of spreading heresy and had her placed under arrest.
Jesus Christ. What's going to happen to her?
I don't know, Henry. It all depends on the Inquisitor and how he decides. The accusations brought against Johanka are very serious.
Well, we must do something.
Well, you can try talking to Bishop Yaroslav. He can tell you more. As a servant of the royal hetman, your name ought to carry some weight with him. But watch your step. This matter is entirely in the hands of church law, so you mustn't overestimate your lay authority here.
Right. I'll go and see this Bishop Yaroslav of Benešov.
May God go with you. And thank you, Henry. I'm glad you're standing up for Johanka. If you need anything, do come and see me.
Goodbye.
Good. That's my...
Look what...
You're...
God save Henry.
Sir, I am...
Henry of Scarlet, from the garrison of the Royal Hetman, Sir Radzig Kobyla. I've heard a lot about you, my son. I'm pleased to meet you.
Bishop Yaroslav? Sir? My lord, to what do I owe your interest in my humble self?
I was told you survived the massacre in Skalitz and warned the Talmberg garrison. You tracked down the raiders of a stud farm in Neuhof, wasn't it? To their hideout in the woods. And then you led Sir Radzig and his armed company there and joined bravely in the skirmish, and even killed their notorious leader by your own hand. And I believe you have many other deeds to your name. That's quite remarkable, considering your age, is it not?
Well, you're too kind, Monsignor. I'm just trying to do what's right, and what's needed.
Quite rightly, too, my son. I expect we'll be hearing more about you. But I assume you didn't come here to exchange pleasantries. Or am I mistaken?
No, Monsignor, you're quite right. I'm here about Johanka.
Naturally. I'd be quite surprised if it were otherwise. So, tell me what's on your mind.
How did you find out about Johanka?
Word came to me of what was happening here. That some young girl was claiming to speak for the Blessed Virgin. I traveled here immediately, as my duty demanded, and observed events in Sasau incognito, in order to examine the matter at first hand.
I see. Why did you have her imprisoned?
Because she broke the promise she made to me, and persisted in actions that bear the signs of heresy.
And what will happen to Johanka now?
I must weigh the gravity of her transgressions, and investigate these alleged visions of hers. I consider it very improbable that she is indeed being visited by the Blessed Virgin. Nevertheless, I cannot at this time rule it out entirely.
So you think it could be true? In that case, Johanka hasn't done anything wrong.
It's not that straightforward. Even if her visions were real, she was at fault for interpreting them as she saw fit and preaching to the people.
When will you decide, Monsignor?
As soon as I am fully informed of the facts. Although it seems the matter is a little more complicated than I first thought. I will call Johanka and the witnesses, question them, and then pronounce a verdict.
And will there be anyone there to defend Johanka?
Do you doubt my judgment?
I would never be so bold, sir. But surely it would be only just that someone should speak for Johanka about all her good deeds and so forth.
Naturally, I will also question those who would speak in her defense. Since you are interceding, I expect you have someone in mind?
Yes. Actually, me.
As I surmised. But this matter does not directly concern you. Why should I allow you to appear before the court?
I serve the royal hetman, and his interests are mine. To see justice done in this province, and to quell unrest.
Laudable, no doubt. But bear in mind that Lord Kobola is a secular governor, and this matter is subject to church law, in which he has no jurisdiction. On the other hand, I do acknowledge that you've been quite exemplary in doing your duty, as far as I'm aware. Your concern seems sincere, so I will grant your request. Very well. You will defend Johanka. You may speak in her defense if you so wish, and you may also bring witnesses. I will question any such witnesses, and naturally I shall question Johanka too.
Thank you, Monsignor. In that case, I'll need to speak to Johanka first.
That won't be possible. It's forbidden by the Inquisition procedure. Until the entire matter is resolved, Johanka can speak only to me, and no one else.
But I have to talk to her. How can I defend her otherwise?
No, you are strictly forbidden to speak with her. I have already conceded to something that is quite beyond normal practice. Bear that in mind. I would like to expedite the matter. The trial will take place in Sasau Church in 3 days' time at the latest. Come and let me know when you're ready to proceed. In the meantime, I will continue my investigation.
Very well, Monsignor. I had better get on with it then, sir. Farewell.
Before you go, you know Johanka longer than anyone else. You spent a lot of time with her, as I've discovered. Tell me, my son, truthfully, what do you think of this whole affair?
About the Virgin Mary? I believe the Virgin does visit her. Johanka is honest. She wouldn't lie about such a thing, and the things she says sound truthful and compelling. It really does seem like a heavenly revelation. Who else could it be from but the Virgin Mary?
The origin of these so-called visions of hers must be investigated. But thank you for your candor. Is there anything else you can tell me?
Johanka is an honest girl, and virtuous. She's a good Christian, who attends church and thinks of others.
Good. Please continue.
She's worried about Matthias. He's from Skalitz too, and she's very fond of him. But he was wounded in a raid on Merhoyed recently, and since then he's been lying in a fever. Johanka believes that if she does what the Blessed Virgin wants of her, Matthias might be healed.
Interesting. Anything else?
Well, before, in Skalitz, Johanka was sort of, well, just a simple village girl. I never imagined I'd hear her talking the way she does now. She's completely transformed.
A simple village girl. I see. Do continue.
Johanka helped a lot of people. She worked her fingers to the bone helping Brother Nicodemus with the sick and injured.
That is certainly commendable. What else can you tell me about her?
That's about all I can tell you.
Is that really everything?
I have nothing more to add, Monsignor.
Very well. Thank you, my son. One more thing before you go. Let me remind you that it's your Christian duty to report anything suspicious going on concerning the Church and the true faith, if you're aware of anything of the sort in these parts. If you prove yourself a commendable servant of the Church, I would also take that into account in judging Johanka's case.
All right, Monsignor. I'll bear that in mind.
Good luck, then.
Monsignor, I've heard of various irregularities in the province that might be of interest to you.
Very good, my son. A good Christian certainly shouldn't conceal such things. Please, speak.
The former parish priest of Rovna, Father Simon, went missing one day. Everyone thought he'd fled from the province, but in fact he just went to the woods and became a hermit.
I see. Why did he do that?
Because he got some girl pregnant. The child died during birth, though, and the mother too. He took it to be retribution for his sin. So he fled far from people, because he didn't feel fit to be their pastor anymore.
That's very interesting indeed. Where is this Father Simon now?
I tracked him down in the woods and talked him into going back to Rovna. They needed a parish priest there, and Simon was convinced taking on the task would make amends for his sin.
Interesting. Father Simon's story is certainly remarkable. Whether his actions are appropriate for a cleric is another matter, of course. Thank you for telling me about this.
There were Valdensians hiding in Ujits.
Really? And how did you find out about it?
Sir Hanush sent me to help the vicar track them down and catch them.
So, Sir Hanush had an interest in finding them?
Yes, that's right.
I'm pleased to hear it. It's not always possible to see eye to eye with secular lords in such matters. And how did it end up with the members of the sect?
They fled. The vicar is still trying to track them down.
That's unfortunate. Let's hope the vicar succeeds promptly in his mission.
Some women in Ujits went to the herbalist for magic ointment. Then they went to the woods, smeared this ointment on themselves, and engaged in all sorts of incantations and spells.
What? Witchcraft? God have mercy. They must be brought to justice. Who is this herbalist they visited?
Old Gertrude. She lives in the woods by Ledechko.
This will have to be dealt with. Thank you for telling me. Once I've finished with Johanka's case, I'll consider what's to be done about this.
A demon's skull was found on the church building site.
Yes. I heard something about it. A disturbing report. Tell me what you know about it.
It was a deception, sir. Someone made it with evil intentions, to frighten people. I found the skull and brought it to the local knacker. He confirmed it was a human skull with animal horns stuck on.
You did the right thing, Henry, in uncovering the deception and in telling me about it.
There are interesting things going on inside the monastery.
In the monastery? What kind of things?
Oh, various things that people are talking about. But actually, nothing that would
As you wish.
That's all, Monsignor.
All right, Henry. Thank you. But I hope you're not keeping anything from me.
Why did you have Johanka imprisoned?
I talked to her for a long time about the things she was saying and about her convictions. I warned her that she had to stop preaching in public. And I told her if she had any further concerns, or, as she claims, visions, she should come to me. Johanka chose to ignore my warning and continued with her preaching. Obviously, I couldn't turn a blind eye to that kind of disobedience.
But what's so bad about what Johanka has been saying?
Look here. It's simply unacceptable that anyone at all should come along and stand up in the market square and preach about God's will or how he or she interprets it. God gave us his teachings, which we must honor, and he showed us how to fulfill them. It is only those teachings that lead us on the path to salvation and God's grace. But understanding those teachings is no simple matter. It demands learning, time, and effort. That is one of the tasks of Holy Mother Church. What Johanka has been saying is dangerously close to heresy. She must be brought to see the error of her ways, and her disruptive actions must cease.
But Johanka hasn't done anything against God. On the contrary, she's devout, and she's trying to redeem sinners.
Perhaps, but she's also incited disobedience to the nobles, and that is a serious accusation. Think of it like this. You have to pass through a dark forest filled with hazards. Many paths lead to that forest, but only one will lead you safely through it. You know which is the right path, but others don't. Would you show them the right path, or leave each to choose his own and very likely lose his way?
I'd lead them along the right path.
Of course. And surely you understand that the Holy Church is the one that knows that right path. And it is our duty to ensure that everyone should follow it and not stray from it.
I understand, my lord.
Good.
But Johanka was visited by the Virgin Mary, so what she says can't be wrong.
We only have her word for that. And even if her visions were real, she was at fault for interpreting them as she saw fit and preaching to the people.
But how, if the Virgin Mary told her?
As it says in Galatians, "But though we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed."
I think I understand.
Good.
Monsignor, Johanka is just a simple village girl from Scallis. Are all these legal proceedings really necessary?
They are. The mission of the Inquisition is quite unequivocal, and however trivial, this matter has a broader significance.
What broader significance?
No offense, but these things can't easily be explained to an uneducated boy like you. Still, I'm pleased that you take an interest. Unfortunately, I don't have time for this now. If you really want to know more, after all, it is also our duty.
God be with you.
Brother Nicodemus,
You've heard something?
the Inquisitor has decided that Johanka will be tried, but he's agreed that I can defend her.
That's really quite unusual. It must mean he hasn't come to a clear conclusion yet.
Yes. I'll get her out of it.
I'm afraid it may not be that easy. The thing is, I expect Johanka will say the same things before the court that she's been preaching.
What are you saying?
Well, I've been thinking about what she's been saying, and it seems to me her preaching has a certain progression. Are you acquainted with the notion of the three orders of man?
Yeah, I heard something about it. Those who work, those who pray, and those who fight. But what's all that got to do with Johanka?
Well, I noticed in her first sermon she primarily addressed the concerns of the common folk, and in the second she criticized the nobility.
Ah. So you think she might start talking about the church?
Yes, I'm afraid she might. I dread to think how that might end up. Henry, you must warn her against that. She must show humility before the Inquisitor, and the wisest course would be to admit to being wrong. She's rather stubborn, but perhaps she'll listen to you.
But the Inquisitor said no one's allowed to see her.
No one except the Inquisitor's own men. You'll just have to think something up. I'm afraid Johanka's fate is mainly in your hands now. I'm relying on you.
See you later.
Witnesses can be summoned for Johanka's trial. So I wanted to ask you if you'd give a testimony. Maybe some learned speech in her defense?
I'd be glad to do it. Johanka deserves my help. Such testimonies could carry a lot of weight. You should try and get as many as you can.
Goodbye.
What actually happened?
Johanka told me you went to Auschwitz.
Yeah? What's that got to do with anything?
The Inquisitor showed up here not long after you left. Apparently he heard about Johanka's preaching somehow. He even observed one of her sermons outside the town in disguise. He had her brought to him and spent a long time trying to discourage her from what she was doing. But then she went out again to preach about her visions outside of town. But before she even started, the Inquisitor turned up with Fabian and the guards. He said Johanka had ignored. Then he warned the people there that Johanka was spreading heresy and undermining the church's authority, and forbade them to listen to her.
That's all? Didn't you speak to the Inquisitor?
No, actually I didn't. He saw me there listening to her preaching, and I was...
Aha.
Thanks.
It sounds pretty serious.
It is.
What exactly does an Inquisitor do?
The Inquisition is a papal institution that deals with heresy. The Inquisitors have all sorts of powers, the kind we here can do very little to stand up to.
And what can he do to Johanka?
I'm not entirely sure. These legal issues are very complex. He could certainly excommunicate her, and maybe even send...
Who is this Bishop Yaroslav?
I've never heard of him before, but the prior has. He said he's very well learned, and the Bishop of Sarepta.
Sarepta? Where's that, Moravia?
No, it's far, far away, near the Holy Land. He got the title from the Holy Father himself.
And this bishop came all the way here from whatever.
Sarepta, but I doubt he's ever been there. It used to be a bishopric in the days of the Apostolic Fathers in Phoenicia, near Israel, but it was ransacked by the Muslims. Now it's just a titular bishopric. And Yaroslav,
Titular bishop? Like he's not a real one?
it's, let's say, an honorary title. It refers to a diocese that no longer exists. And since a titular bishop has no diocese to oversee, like ordaining other prelates, for example, to maintain succession through the centuries down from the time of Christ.
Do you believe Johanka is really being visited by the Virgin Mary?
Well, yes, Henry, I do. The things she says and the way she doesn't sound like herself at all. I know she can't read, so where else could she have got it? Frankly, I can't think of any other explanation within the bounds of this world.
Good luck, then.
Adela, the Inquisitor is going to try Johanka in court.
Oh, Lord. I hope she's acquitted. I was absolutely devastated when they took her away.
I need people to speak in her defense, and I'd like to ask you to do it.
I don't want to go there. Really. I'm afraid of that Inquisitor. But you helped me, and so did Johanka. It's only right that I should try and help her. But what am I supposed to say there? I'm just a simple village girl. I don't know anything about these things.
That doesn't matter. You just be yourself. It should be enough to talk about all the good Johanka does here, and how she helps others. I'll send for you if you're needed.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Quiet!
God save you, good night.
God be with you.
I need something from you, sir. I suppose you heard that Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor and is facing charges of heresy.
I did, and it's most disturbing news.
What you might not know is that he's agreed that I can defend her at the trial.
You? Do you even know what to say?
Sure I know. It'll turn out just fine. Trust me. But I need you to testify at the court. In Johanka's defense, of course.
Naturally. You don't think I could just sit here and do nothing? Besides, the bishop has already insisted that I appear before the court.
Oh. All right.
One moment. I apologize if I was a little hasty. This whole affair has left me anxious. I appreciate that you want to defend her. However, I don't think it would have any effect. No offense, but I don't think you'll be able to achieve anything in court. I'm afraid the Inquisitor will judge as he sees fit, whatever anyone says. But I have an idea how you could help.
Oh? How's that?
Flee. With Johanka, of course.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sure Johanka will be acquitted by the court and everything will be all right. Running would just confirm the Inquisitor's suspicions, and she'd always be looking over her shoulder.
I don't agree. As I said, I don't believe you can affect the outcome of the court. If Johanka flees, yes, she'll have to lie low for a while, but in time it will all blow over. You can take her anywhere, as long as it's far enough from here. A girl like that will always find her feet. She can easily hide out somewhere where she's not known. Maybe there could even be a place for her on my estate. Think about it. But whatever you decide, if Johanka comes to any harm, you'll have me to answer to. I'm very fond of her. And her of me, and I don't want anything to happen to her, understand? But if everything ends well, I'll show you my gratitude, I assure you.
I know about you and her. She told me everything.
Oh? What exactly do you mean? You'd better be very careful what you say, boy.
I know you're a married man, but you haven't always been entirely faithful to your wife.
How dare you!
And you had to pick Johanka. I know all about it. And you should know it's finished. Johanka was feeling vulnerable when it was all too much for her. That's all. She and Matthias care for each other, so leave them alone. She doesn't want to have anything more to do with you. And she won't.
How dare you speak like that to a noble? You, a blacksmith's brat from Skalitz. If you weren't in Lord Kobila's charge, I'd have you whipped for your lies and dragged behind a horse all the way to Ratai. But whoever you might be hiding behind, next time I'll do just that. Now get out! Farewell.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Goodman Pavel, you're still here. That's a relief. I was afraid I'd miss you.
Yes, still here, but not for long. I had some business to deal with, but now that's out of the way and I'm getting ready to leave. What was it you wanted?
You might have heard that Johanka was arrested by the Inquisitor and is facing trial.
Indeed, word has reached me. Poor girl.
I'd like to ask you to speak to the court in Johanka's defense.
Of course, Henry. You have my word. And the word of a burgher of Colleen ought to mean something. But to speak in defense of someone accused of heresy is no small matter. What do you want me to say?
The same thing you told me. That it was a sacred sign that you happened to be nearby when Johanka was speaking, and so on.
True. I'll tell the bishop that. You can rest assured.
Thank you very much. Please wait here a few more days for the court to convene, then I'll send for you.
All right. For Johanka's sake, I'll wait.
God be with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Vegetable.
Yeah.
Henry, I'm glad you stopped by.
Well, how did it go with that husband of mine?
I played him and took him for everything he had.
I see. So he played again.
I had a heart-to-heart talk with him, and in the end, he promised he wouldn't gamble again. He even gave me his dice.
That sounds promising. Thank you, Henry. But what about the money he lost? Did you give it back to him?
Yeah, I gave it back to him so he can buy what he needs.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Henry.
I need your help with something. I'm sure you've heard. Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor.
Who hasn't? The whole of Sasso is talking about it. And the Inquisitor was asking around about her.
I'd like to ask you to appear before the court and say something in Johanka's defense.
I can't say I'm keen on going there. But Johanka helped me. And you did too. I think it's only right that someone should say something good about her.
Ah, thanks, Guta. I appreciate it. I'll send for you when it's time. Master Bailiff, Inquisitor Yaroslav is going to try Johanka.
I know. He was here asking questions, too.
Oh? What did he want to know?
Various things. Like how things are here, whether people are honest, whether we observe the fest days, and so forth. And then he asked about Johanka. About what she preaches, whether people come to listen to her and that. He's been talking to a lot of other people in Sasau, too. I even heard that Katra, the swordsmith's wife, invited him to dine with them.
That's interesting. Thanks for telling me. Was he just asking questions, or does he want you to testify before the court?
Yes, he did ask me to testify, and I'm none too happy about it.
I see. And what are you going to say about her?
It depends what I'm asked, but there's not much I can say. I don't know Johanka very well. She seems virtuous and self-sacrificing to me. She's never done anything wrong, and no one here ever had a cross word to say about her. Until recently. Maybe some gossip about her and Sir Sebastian. But I've heard similar talk about half the women folk here.
Now that's just idle gossip. Johanka is a virtuous girl.
True. But then there's that preaching of hers. Folk have been falling out. They're split according to whether they believe Johanka or not. I don't know quite what to think of it myself. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'll wait and see what the learned bishop has to say.
Couldn't you add something good to your testimony for Johanka?
What? Are you trying to...
Good lord, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I expressed myself badly, that's all. What I was trying to say, rather clumsily, is that I'd be very glad if you were to speak on Johanka's behalf, because she really deserves it.
Well, I'll overlook your clumsiness then.
Thank you, Master Bailiff.
Good luck to you. I hope I can be of... May the Lord watch over you.
Is there anything...
It's so, Pete. God be with you.
What? Hey? Jesus!
Father, the Inquisitor has had Johanka thrown in jail.
I know, son.
He's planning a hearing.
Rightly so. It's about time this whole matter was dealt with.
What do you think about it, then?
As I say, it's a good thing that the matter is being investigated. The things Johanka has been preaching are, to say the least, disturbing. Who knows what these dreams are that she speaks of? And her words are only putting ideas in people's heads and leading them astray. Now, instead of going to church, as they should, they go to her in the false belief that they will find solace. It's creating a chasm between the people and the church and leading them away from the true teaching left to us by Christ. They're misguided and swamped in heretical ideas.
But Johanka is only saying what the Virgin Mary has told her. What can be wrong with that?
And how do you know the Virgin is really talking to her?
Well, I believe she's telling the truth.
Ah, but you can't be sure, can you? Do you really think a girl from the stable knows God's teaching better than the church? Better than the generations of church fathers and learned scholars since the time of Christ? Who have studied the sacred scriptures and their correct interpretation? With all the evil that's already going on in this province, the last thing people need is a false prophet.
I'm quite sure Johanka wasn't acting with any evil intentions. I'll defend her.
Suit yourself. But mind you don't get ensnared in her fallacies, and leave it to the bishop to judge the matter.
Of course.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here about Johanka.
You're that fella of hers, are you? What do you want?
No. I'm just a friend of hers. Matthias is her fella.
Huh. God knows how many she has.
I heard you invited Bishop Yaroslav to come and dine with you?
Yes, so what? Bishop Yaroslav is an esteemed visitor to Sasau, and it's only fitting he should be suitably hosted by devout burghers.
And what did you talk about?
What we discussed with the Monsignor is none of your business.
What have you got against Johanka?
Nothing. The question is, what has she got against us? Tell me that.
What?
She turns up here and tries to tell us how to live our lives. Says the Virgin Mary whispers to her in the night. Yeah, I'm sure. To a simple village wench. I'd like to know who's really putting those ideas in her head. She's just getting people all worked up. Men, especially. Coming around here with her nonsense. Sasau is a decent, orderly place, I'll have you know. We don't want any trouble here. All this talk about hellfire and the end of the world. God have mercy. No one is interested in what she has to say. All they want is some spectacle. She ought to have thought twice before she started. Not that she wasn't warned.
What do you mean, warned?
As I said, she was told.
Tell me everything you know. I represent the royal hetman, so don't try and keep anything from me.
If you must know, some of the fellas want to have it out with her and tell her to stop. No one wants her speeches here, but would she listen? No. The devil possessed her to bring harm to us.
So it was you who sent those men?
All I wanted was to protect the Sasau folk against her poisonous tongue, and I'll do just that. The Monsignor asked me to testify in court, and I'll tell everything I know there.
And I'll do likewise. Farewell.
Go. Goodbye.
Hey, clear off. No one's allowed to talk to Johanka. Bishop Yaroslav's orders.
I'm sure the bishop wouldn't mind if you had to go and answer a call of nature, and if it were a nice long call, there'd be a few groschen in it for you.
Don't even try it, I'm warning you.
Come on now, just between the two of us. Johanka is my friend. She has no one else but me. The Inquisitor will surely take her away, and I'll never see her again. I just want to say goodbye to her before she disappears forever. What would you do in my place?
Well, since you put it that way, but I'd be taking a big risk. disobeying the bishop's orders. You'd have my head for it.
Of course. I wouldn't expect you to put yourself at risk without a reward.
All right, go on then. But make it quick, eh?
For sure. Thanks a lot. I owe you.
I'll see you later.
Johanka, are you alright?
Yes, Henry. I'm fine. I'm glad to see you.
I spoke to the Inquisitor. He wants to put you on trial.
I know. It's all in God's hands now.
No, it's not. I mean, it is, of course. But the bishop has allowed me to defend you.
You want to defend me? Thank you. Henry, that's very kind of you. But you needn't bother. Our Lady won't let anything bad happen to me. I am her instrument, and I am completely in her hands. Everything that's happening is her sacred will.
I won't stand by with my arms folded. You need someone to testify for you. As I said, I will defend you.
If you insist, maybe it's the will of the Virgin that you came to me. So be it then.
I went to Ujits, like you asked.
That's good, Henry. I hope you purged yourself of your sins.
I did the pilgrimage of penance, like you said. And in the church, I begged the Virgin Mary for forgiveness.
And she will bless you, Henry. You're a good man. Remember that. And don't stray into wrongdoing again.
I won't. I made a donation to the church, too. And the parish priest there, Father Godwin, he was asking about you.
Was he? What did you tell him?
Oh, just about everything that's going on and the things you were saying. He was quite moved by it, to tell the truth. He even gave me some writings.
You see? Maybe Our Lady is giving you a sign too.
What did Bishop Yaroslav ask you about?
All sorts of things. Like how the Virgin Mary visits me, what she shows me, and about preaching to the people. Actually, he was really quite pleasant. He asked me about Skalitz, whether I go to church, and a lot of other things. And in the end, he told me I mustn't speak in public again about the visitations and that. But I couldn't obey an order like that. The Blessed Virgin is testing me, and I have to do what she asks, no matter who or what stands in the way.
I'd say he wasn't too happy about that.
No. He came there with his men, dispersed the people, and had me arrested and locked up here.
About that trial?
Yes, the trial.
I'll get some people who will testify for you in court. But Brother Nicodemus is worried you'll say things that will make the Inquisitor angry. Please don't do that. You have to talk to him respectfully, answer his questions with humility, and not say anything to annoy him. And don't say anything against the church or priests. Please.
I'll say only what the Blessed Virgin wants me to say.
Fine, if that's how you want it. But if you annoy him, you'll make it worse for yourself and me too. I'm trying to help you here.
I know, but I can't let Our Lady down. After everything, I will fulfill the task she gave me. And then she'll heal Matthias. That's all that matters.
Sacra. This is going to be a right mess.
Don't be shy.
I spoke to Johanka.
And did you manage to convince her?
I'm afraid not. She's stubborn. She says she answers only to the Blessed Virgin.
Oh dear, Henry. That's not good at all. What about her family? Doesn't she have a relative she might listen to?
No. None of them survived the raid on Skalitz.
She has no one at all left in the world? Poor child.
Good luck, then.
Matthias? You're better.
Henry? Is it you?
Yes, it's me. Who else would it be?
God be with you, Henry.
I'm glad you're here, Henry. I feel a bit better now. I'd even like to eat something. I must tell Johanka. She'll be glad.
Johanka's not here.
Oh? Where is she?
How to begin? Look, things got a bit complicated here. The main thing is, Johanka is in jail, awaiting trial.
What? What happened?
Well, she claims she's being visited by the Virgin Mary and seeing visions, and she was preaching to people about it. But this inquisitor heard about it and came to investigate. He locked her up, and he's going to try her for heresy.
What? The Virgin Mary? Visiting Johanka?
Yes. So she says. Trouble is, Johanka is very obstinate, and she's likely to say things in court that will just make it worse for her. Listen, Matthias, I need you to go with me and talk to her. Maybe together we can convince her to see sense.
I wish I could. But I'm still too weak to even get out of bed. I'm sorry, Henry. I just can't do it. You know what? Tell her I'm feeling better, and I agree with everything you tell her. Give her this dice. She'll understand. It'll almost be like I was there with you.
Dice?
It's complicated. Back in Skalitz, Johanka wanted me to take her dancing, but she was too shy to ask. She thought if she took my dice and then brought it back to me, I'd be grateful and ask her to dance. Crazy, I know. But that's girls for you. But I asked her anyway. And that evening she told me everything.
Girls, eh? I know what you mean.
Henry, please, look out for her. And make sure nothing happens to her.
I'll do my best.
Good luck, then.
Yeah.
Come right up.
Yeah.
About that trial,
Yes, the trial.
I spoke to Matthias.
What? But he's lying in a fever, isn't he?
No, he's much better. He asked about you. He wanted to come here, but he's not strong enough yet.
Oh, that's wonderful. You see, Our Lady helped him. And now, I have to do my part.
But doesn't it mean that you've already done your part?
Well,
What would be the point of it all if the Inquisitor were to have you imprisoned now? Or even worse?
It's a message. A final test. I mustn't fail now, after everything.
But you already passed the Virgin Mary's message on. Many people heard it, and many of them have amended their ways. You certainly haven't failed. Look, Matthias gave me this for you, and he asked me to tell you to look out for yourself.
Thank you, Henry. Go now. I need to rest.
Yeah.
I'm ready, Monsignor.
Excellent. I have also completed my investigation. We may commence then with the proceedings?
Yes.
Good. I will send for everyone who is to bear witness and have Johanka brought before the court. We'll commence first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. These are solemn proceedings that demand a certain decorum. I won't tolerate any clanking armor or otherwise inappropriate attire. You will wear this robe.
Of course. Thank you, Monsignor.
Very well. Rest now, and we'll meet in the morning.
God be with you.
Let us begin.
I, Bishop Yaroslav of Benishov, by the grace of God, Papal Inquisitor, have come here to Sasau in response to reports of Marian visitations and the preaching activities of one Johanka, a commoner. And I have found, indeed, that by her arbitrary words she's been leading good people astray and encouraging their rebellion against their betters. Furthermore, Johanka has attempted to usurp the glory that belongs alone to Holy Mother Church, and to appoint herself as an intermediary of the wisdom and grace of Almighty God. This does not behove any lay person, and certainly not a woman. It is therefore necessary to remedy her transgressions, and to investigate the extent and the basis of her misguidance. Or, as the case may be, heresy. Henry of Skalitz has elected to appear here in Johanka's defense, and his wish has been allowed. Anyone who elects to speak here does so before God, and shall be bound by a most sacred oath, to speak only the truth. I will first hear the testimony of Father Fabian, who sent me word of this matter, and who should best know what deeds are done in his parish. Father Fabian, will you tell us what Johanka has been proclaiming?
Johanka claims that she has received visitations from Our Lady, the Holy Mother of God, who speaks to her in the night. It is an outrageous claim that I hold to be entirely untrue.
And did Johanka come forward to ask your advice regarding these alleged apparitions?
She did not. Instead, she took it upon herself to spread her supposed wisdom to the people.
And prior to this, did Johanka attend church? Did you see her at your sermons, Father?
I did not, Monsignor. What's more, the parish priest of Skalitz is staying at my presbytery just now. Johanka knows him well enough, but she didn't come to see even him. I believe Johanka is deliberately avoiding the church. Instead, she meets her followers secretly in the woods and preaches to them. Either she made everything up, or the devil himself is whispering in her ear.
If I may, Monsignor, the Virgin Mary really does speak to Johanka.
Is that so? And on what do you found this claim?
It couldn't be the devil. Johanka lives at the monastery, doesn't she? Close to the cave of St. Procopius. St. Procopius, who overpowered the devil and cast him down, did he not? The evil one would hardly dare return to the dominion of the saints to whisper in Johanka's ear. Surely that's obvious.
It's true, Henry, that evil spirits, or even Lucifer himself, would have little power in the vicinity of the remains of St. Procopius.
But the fact that she lives at the monastery doesn't mean that she is not misguided. What's more, she is an interloper there herself, who would not even be tolerated if it weren't for Brother Nicodemus.
Yes, Father, I am aware of the impropriety of her presence in the monastery grounds. But in this, I must concur with Henry.
Monsignor, would you please hear the testimony of the respected burgher Pavel of Kolin? He will testify that Johanka isn't making anything up.
Well, I'm very curious what this Pavel will tell us. Call Pavel of Kolin. I'm a little surprised to find a counselor of Kolin here, especially you, who makes no secret of your animosity towards Sasau Monastery.
True. Although I have only criticized the monastery in secular matters of property, which concerned a dispute with the town of Kolin, and therefore my duties as a counselor.
Pavel, please tell us about your recent experience.
I'm all ears, Goodman.
Monsignor, some years ago I hid some money in Sasau woods. When I found myself here again recently and heard Johanka's words, I remembered that matter. Johanka made me aware of my inordinate love of wealth, and I resolved to donate the money in question for the common good of Sasau. For this I needed an honest intermediary who would locate the money. In this too, Johanka helped me by putting me in touch with Henry here. By the grace of God, he found the long-lost treasure and donated it for the good of Sasau. The whole matter I regard as the intervention of the Holy Spirit.
An interesting tale, Goodman Pavel.
Not only that, it's also evidence of divine providence, and that Johanka isn't making anything up. She wasn't possessed by an evil spirit. On the contrary, Our Lady really did speak to her.
I must concur with that, Monsignor, because I was subsequently also visited in a dream by the Virgin Mary.
What? You too?
Yes. She appeared in a blue cloak and waved to me.
Do you swear that what you say is true, Pavel?
I swear by Almighty God, Monsignor.
Remarkable. Truly remarkable. Very well, Goodman. Thank you for your testimony. You may stand down.
Even if it were true, why would Our Lady choose a simple village girl like Johanka?
Monsignor, with your permission, I'd like to draw attention to the work of the great scholar Matthew of Yanov. He exalted women like Johanka. He said that God created what is weak in order to bring shame on what is strong. That's why God turns to women who love Christ and blesses them with such visions, so that they can point out and rectify the vanities of men. It can't be heresy if the learned masters of universities write such tracts.
What you say is remarkable. Matthew's work, which you mentioned, does speak to Johanka's benefit, but I wouldn't have expected that someone of your station has even heard of the Master of Yanov. How did you come by his work?
Well, Johanka pressed me to go on a pilgrimage of repentance. I went to Ujits, where there is a Marian church, and there, the parish priest gave me a copy of the text.
That's surprising indeed. Especially that you are at all capable of reading such a work and understanding it. You're quite a fountain of unexpected skills, Henry.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Let's proceed then. Is there anything else you want to add, Henry?
Yes. Please call Brother Nicodemus. He has something to say about it. He's a man of learning and knows more about these things than I do.
Certainly. I also wish to hear his testimony. Call him. Nicodemus, for some time you were insisting that the infirmary needed extra pairs of hands. It was only at your request that Johanka, against all accepted custom, was allowed inside the monastery walls. I've already spoken to Abbot Peter about her, but please tell me how Johanka behaved.
Monsignor, I must stand behind Johanka. The girl is a treasure, selfless, charitable and good-hearted. She helped more people here than anyone else. I have never seen her do anything that would contradict the behavior of a good Christian. She never discussed questions of faith with me. She was always focused only on her work, which she carried out impeccably.
And afterwards, when she began making claims of Marian apparitions?
Yes. Yes, that's quite an extraordinary thing. The things she preached couldn't have come from any of the brothers, or from books, because she can't read. Therefore, I believe the Blessed Virgin really spoke to her.
Nonsense. She made the whole thing up, or someone did prompt her. You're very keen to defend her, brother. It makes me wonder whether she didn't get her wisdom from you.
I already said she got none of it from me, and I would never lie before Almighty God. But it seems to me it's the inadequate education of the good parish priest here that's behind his flimsy litany.
What? Am I to be criticized by someone who's more a gardener than a scholar?
Father Fabian, let Nicodemus speak. And you, Nicodemus, stick to the point, if you please.
Certainly, Monsignor. Please allow this humble gardener to put the good priest right, because he evidently knows nothing of the fact that other women before Johanka had similar experiences. Blessed Hildegard of Bingen also had similar visions. And what about St. Bridget, or Elizabeth of Schurnau, or Catherine of Siena? Like them, Johanka here only humbly spreads the message of Our Lady. She does not present herself as an intermediary of divine mercy. Please do not condemn Johanka, Bishop Yaroslav. In my judgment, her visions are genuine and her words sincere.
Thank you, Nicodemus. Your plea is very bold. But what you say about Hildegard and the others is true. You can rest assured I will consider your words very carefully. Fabian, have you had trouble with heretics before, or had any suspicions of heresy here?
Not much, Monsignor. Now and then there have been traveling preachers and various charlatans here and there. Although, I did recently get reports that there were members of the Waldensian sect hiding in the province.
Yes, I know of that. Henry here was helping the vicar to track them down. Unfortunately, though, they managed to flee. Thank you, Father Fabian. That's all.
I'm glad to have been of service, Monsignor.
I thank you also, Brother Nicodemus. You too may stand down. Call Hoshek, bailiff of Sasau. Bailiff, has there been any suspicious activity here recently?
Well, there have been cumins on the rampage in the woods and on the roads, and all sorts of bands of footpads and brigands around the province. But otherwise, it's all been peaceful and quiet here, Monsignor.
How reassuring. And what of Johanka, bailiff? Has she been inciting the people here?
I couldn't tell you much about her. I hardly know her. She hasn't broken any laws, and folks speak well of her, for the most part. Although it's true, things have been a bit tense here, on account of her speeches.
Continue.
Quite a lot of people have been going to her since she started with that preaching. Some are even convinced she's a holy woman. From what I heard, they bring her small gifts or ask for her advice or blessing.
Sacrilege! People coming for blessings and bringing her gifts. That has all the makings of a cult.
Oh, I don't know, Monsignor. Begging your pardon, but that's overstating it a bit. But it's true. They met outside town too, and it came to a bit of a skirmish. Nothing serious happened, though. Fellas punching each other in the mouth. If you'll excuse me, Monsieur, that happens all the time. Well, that's about all I can tell you, Monsignor.
Thank you, Bailiff. I will be all. And you, Henry, you've been around Johanka more than anyone. Do people come to her for blessings?
Well, they come to her, yes. But I swear she never blessed anyone. But when someone comes to her, she tries to help them, like a good Christian.
Henry, I'm sure you're aware that to lie here is a mortal sin and a crime.
I do. And I'm not lying.
All right. Anything else?
Yes, Monsignor. Johanka helped Guta, the tailor's wife. Please hear her testimony. You'll see for yourself that Johanka is a good Christian.
Very well. I promised I'd hear your witnesses. Call this Guta. Guta, you witnessed Johanka's first sermon. What did she speak of?
About how we should be virtuous and not sinful.
And then you went to see Johanka, didn't you?
I did, Monsignor. I wanted to ask her for help, and she did. I was praying for my husband for a long time and begging God to help him. And I believe my prayers were answered, and he sent Johanka to us.
And there were others who came to her seeking help?
Yes, Monsignor. There were.
And that shrine, and the gifts. People brought them to Johanka so she'd help them?
I couldn't tell you. But she helped me, without any of that.
Didn't you bring her any gifts?
Well, yes, but that was after. Just some old cloth for bandages and bed covers, so she could help others like she helped me. Every evening, I pray for Johanka and thank the Blessed Virgin for sending her to us.
I see. Thank you. You may go.
I'd like you to listen to Adela. She amended her life and doesn't live in sin anymore, all because of Johanka. Johanka helped people selflessly, not for any benefit, and Adela can testify to that.
All right. Bring this Adela. Adela, until recently you were living in the nearby town of Ledechko, is that so?
Yes.
And how did you make a living there?
I served at the baths, laundering and repairing clothes, and preparing the baths.
Is that all?
No. Sometimes I went with the fellas and pleasured them for money. But I don't do it anymore. I swear. I changed my ways on account of Johanka and Henry here, and now I lead a decent life.
You're saying you simply gave up your profession?
Yes. Henry convinced me, and Johanka took me in.
Very well. Thank you. And since you left Ledechko, have you sinned with anyone?
No, monsieur, I haven't.
Good. May God give you the will to maintain your newfound virtue, Adela. And now, please answer one more question. You're living with Johanka now, yes? Tell me what she says to the people who come to her.
Well, they come with all sorts of problems. Some want just advice. Some want her maybe to bless them or talk to Our Lady for them. They believe she's a holy woman.
So, Johanka accepts gifts from these people and then gives them her blessing?
No, it's not like that. Johanka doesn't bless anyone. And she doesn't want any gifts from anyone either. Folk just bring them. The things they bring, she gives them out to the sick and wounded. She doesn't keep anything, I swear.
You swear?
Yes, I swear to it all, Monsignor. I'd never lie to you.
All right. You may go. Now I wish to question Katra, the swordsmith's wife. Bring her here. Katra, you are a respected townswoman who has a good overview of what goes on in Sasau. As you told me earlier, will you tell me now what you know of Johanka and her deeds?
Yes, I'll tell you everything, Monsignor. Johanka has been putting ideas into people's heads and causing chaos. What right has she to preach to us? A simple girl like that. As if we were bad people here, and she herself is a sinner. And an adulterer, a loose woman she is, who goes with anyone. And even fornicated with the custodian, Sir Sebastian.
Forgive me, Monsignor, but Katra isn't telling the whole truth.
What do you mean, Henry?
She's the one who set a band of thugs on Johanka several times to cause trouble for her and threaten her. She wanted to drive Johanka out of town. That's not the deed of a good Christian, plotting intrigues like that. She admitted it all to me.
Is that true?
I only did what was necessary to stop her from bringing us to harm.
Monsignor, you can see yourself that Katra holds a grudge against Johanka.
Yes. I must agree with Henry. In view of your apparent antagonism towards Johanka, whatever the reasons for it, I cannot allow you to influence these proceedings. You should have reported your concerns to Father Fabian instead of acting willfully as you did.
But she's bringing us nothing but trouble.
I will be the judge of her transgressions, not you. Nevertheless, I have also heard rumors of Johanka's immorality that cannot be ignored. Bring here the Sasau custodian, Sir Sebastian von Berg. Sir Sebastian, my apologies for raising the matter, but doubts have been cast on your virtue. I have been told that you have shared your bed with Johanka. Is it true?
Monsignor, with respect, this is surely some mistake. Johanka is not a bad girl, and by no means a heretic.
Noted. Now please answer my question. Did you share your bed with Johanka or not?
Yes, but she's not...
Silence! So, Johanka not only incites rebellion against the nobles, but also seduces them into sin and immorality.
That's not true. Johanka never seduced anyone. It's the other way round. He wouldn't leave her alone from the moment she came to Sasau. He simply took advantage of her misfortune and his own status to get her into bed.
How dare you!
Silence! Henry?
Johanka regrets it. What was she to do when she was constantly pursued by a nobleman who has great influence in the area?
What I did out of love for her. Johanka is no heretic, only a confused, unhappy young girl. There's no call for jumping to the conclusion of heresy. Monsignor, you must be able to see that.
I advise caution, sir. Would you cast doubt on the authority of the Church in this trial?
I will no longer tolerate this humiliation. Get out of my way!
Henry? You proved yourself a good servant of the Church when you told me of your disturbing findings concerning the situation hereabouts. You've been very keen to appear here in Johanka's defense. You've said a lot about her, but please, tell me why you've been helping her all this time.
Because I don't know anyone like her. She endured what would destroy most people and never gave up. She never wasted time feeling sorry for herself. Instead, she helped others, even at the cost of her own suffering. And she helped to redeem me, too. It's a pity everyone isn't like her.
It seems you speak sincerely, and you hold her in high regard. Your sincerity before God carries great weight. Thank you. That will be all, Henry.
Monsignor, please permit me to say one more thing. I heard some wise words at a sermon in Skalitz, and I think I should share them here. It's our Christian duty to fight against sin. But we must love the sinner. So I beg you, Monsignor, be lenient to Johanka.
You're right, Henry. Those are wise words. Nothing remains but to question Johanka herself. Johanka of Skalitz, you've heard the accusations brought against you, and we have also heard several testimonies. I already questioned you earlier, and it has also come to my attention that Henry here bribed a guard to allow him to see you in your cell, which I expressly forbade. Johanka, do you wish to revise the answers you gave earlier, or do you stand by what you said?
I stand by everything I told you.
So be it. I expressly forbade you to continue preaching, and you promised not to do so. You defied my instruction and broke your promise. Why?
Forgive me, Monsignor. But I could do nothing else. Our Lady asked me to do it, and I couldn't refuse her. She did visit me. But now I admit that I might have been wrong about some things. I don't understand these learned matters, and I was too hasty in speaking to the people. I regret that I didn't go first to Father Fabian and tell him about everything. I want to apologize here, before the Blessed Virgin. If I misunderstood something and said untruths or brought shame on the Church, I didn't intend to do anything like that. I ask Our Lady's forgiveness, and I will accept any punishment that you impose on me.
I'm pleased that you've seen the error of your ways and confessed to your mistakes. These proceedings are closed. You may leave. Johanka will now hear my verdict.
Johanka, are you aware you're facing very grave accusations?
Yes, Monsignor. I am.
You stand accused of preaching from ignorance and leading the people away from the protective embrace of Holy Mother Church. If you do not recant, you will suffer grave consequences.
Pride and ignorance clouded her reason.
Child, it would distress me greatly to have to pronounce a verdict of condemnation. Speak then. Do you recant your sermons and swear never again to preach to the people? And are you prepared to repent?
As God is my witness, I did all this with good intentions. And I sincerely repent of my sins of conceit. I confess that I was led by my pride to believe the Virgin Mary chose me to put the world to rights. And I set myself above the learned prelates of the Church and the divine right of nobility. I repent my sins of pride and ask forgiveness. I will do as you command, Father.
Johanka has confessed her guilt. From this day forward, she'll be a good and humble Christian again. She shall no longer indulge in philosophizing, and shall, in her penitent's robe, go every day to pray at the Church of St. Martin. Therefore, I ask you to welcome Johanka back into your midst and hold no grudge against her. If the Virgin Mary should happen to visit you again, tell Father Fabian he will send for me. All right?
Yes, Signor.
Very good.
Matthias!
Johanka was cleared of all charges of heresy, and the Inquisitor, his job done and his verdict pronounced, left Dachau for good. Matthias recovered from his illness, and he and Johanka finally met again. It was a happy sight to see them both alive and well after their trials. Who knows what awaits them now? Or all of us, for that matter. Johanka?
Henry, I'm still muddled from all that happened, but I want to thank you for standing by me. You've done more for me than anyone else I know.
You don't have to thank me. I only did what I considered right.
I'm still grateful, though. I'm in your debt. Good luck, then.
Henry, I want to thank you for that generous donation to the infirmary. I'm glad you and Pavel didn't forget us. What do you need?
Brother Nicodemus, I'd like to thank you for the wonderful testimony you gave.
You're the one who deserves thanks, Henry. I feared the worst, and for all my prayers, I never even dared hope for such an outcome. I could hardly believe it at first. I was very fearful for Johanka. It didn't look good at all for her, facing such accusations. And you did an excellent job, Henry. It's largely due to you that everything turned out as it did. Thanks for defending her, Henry. There's few people who could have done it so well. Recently I found an interesting volume in the monastery library and made a copy from it in secret. It's just a few lines, but maybe you'll find it useful.
Thanks. Do you still think the Virgin Mary's visitations were real?
Yes, I think they were. Even if she didn't interpret the message quite correctly, we were certainly witness to something extraordinary.
Good luck, then.
How's it going here?
Good. Actually, better than before. Matthias is here with me. I go to St. Martin's Church often, and Father Fabian is strict with me. But he explains many things to me about God and faith, and he tests me to see if I understand correctly. Then he always leaves me alone to pray and do penance.
And what about the Virgin Mary? Does she still visit you?
No, not anymore. Not since the trial. Whatever anyone says, she did appear to me before. Just between the two of us. I think I did what she wanted of me anyway. Perhaps I was too hasty and committed the sin of pride and got confused about some things. But even so, after all, Matthias recovered, and that must mean something.
I also think you spoke well, and you were right about some things, and I believe Our Lady did appear to you.
Thank you. Let's talk no more about it. Only Our Lady herself knows what her intentions were, and that's how it should be. In church, I always prayed to her for forgiveness. I hope she hears my prayers.
And how is Matthias doing now?
Good, I think. He's getting his strength back. How we're doing isn't for your ears, Henry.
There's one thing I'm curious about. What did the Inquisitor say after we left?
He spoke about God and the Blessed Virgin, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone. I probably shouldn't say anything. But I think, in the end, even the bishop believed that Our Lady really did appear to me.
What, the Inquisitor? But...
Shh! I never said a word, all right?
Ah, yeah, sure. I understand.
Now, I need to rest a while.
What will you do now?
I have to stay in Sasau for some time, on account of Father Fabian. But the abbot wants me to leave the monastery as soon as possible. And then... I wish I knew. I'll have to talk to Matthias about it, but I don't want to trouble him with it now, after he came so close to dying. Take care. Henry! God be with you.
Quiet as the grave here.
Yeah. Yeah.
God grant you health. Good luck then.
Pray to God the worst is over.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What's that? Can I help?
Yeah.
got something for you. I hope you won't need them, but just in case.
Thank you. Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. The time passes so quickly with you, Henry. Come and see me again sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's the man. Good work, Henry.
Thank you, sir.
I tell you to take a well-earned rest, but unfortunately I need one more thing from you.
Whatever you command.
Jezek refuses to talk to us. The stubborn bastard's asking to see you.
Me?
Indeed. Normally I'd send for Captain Burner to beat it out of him, but then I told myself that if he's so keen to speak to you...
I'll try to get something out of him. Where is he?
He's locked up in the tower. Bernard will give you the key.
Very well, sir. Sir, my investigation led me back to Skalitz, and I happened across a criminal there. I just wanted to report to you, sir, that I dealt with that murderer. He attacked me and... well, I got the better of him. He won't be doing any more harm to anyone.
That was a brave deed, Henry. Thank you. I see you've been doing an excellent job in my service. I sent a patrol there some time ago, and they never returned.
Huh? Look out!
Yeah. 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 I need the key to Yezhek's cell.
So Sir Radzig let him have his way in the end. He should have let me beat some answers out of him.
Don't take it that way. He probably wants to talk to me because he reckons he can hoodwink me. But that's where he's wrong.
Just try not to mess it up. Here's that key.
Thanks.
Can I ask...
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm at your...
Have you heard anything about the cumin?
I don't know if it's just old one.
Can you teach...
Set!
I want to...
All right. Now, pay close... See you later.
Let's talk... Here you are.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Henry, come to see us. Well, finally, I've had quite a wait.
Why do you want to talk to me, of all people?
You brought me here. You should consider it an honor.
If hanging around in a damp dungeon with a condemned man is your idea of honor...
You're not seeing the bright side. You can be the one who uncovers a conspiracy against the king for your master. You don't get an opportunity like that every day. It did cross my mind, though, that it might be nice to get some assurances for my cooperation. After all, I'm the one the Margrave unjustly declared the scourge of the land and expelled from Moravia. They even pulled my beautiful castle down. It was the necessity of making a living that forced me to take some liberties.
Do you really want to question the authority of the Margrave?
I've always been loyal to the crown, but what can I do when the Margrave stole my fief?
That's not why we're here. I don't care about your conflict with the Margrave. It's your crimes against the king I'm worried about. The king you say you've always been so loyal to.
Very well, ask me anything you want. I won't be obstructive.
What I want to know most of all is who's behind it. Who were you making those forgeries for?
Do you think I couldn't have handled it all myself?
I'm not trying to insult you. It's just not a job one man could do alone.
All right, the way it began was I was short of coin, as usual. So I let those crimps in Sasau recruit me.
Recruit you into what?
I didn't inquire too much. In this business, you don't ask too many questions. But when they found out I wasn't just anybody, they put me in charge of the counterfeiting. A foreigner by the name of Eric gave me instructions. But for sure, he isn't the chief. And there's someone highly placed at the monastery who's mixed up in it too. But I don't know who.
How did you come to hear of all this business?
I met some old friends in Colleen a few months ago. And they said they were heading for Sasau. That armed men were being recruited, and they'll hire anyone.
Old friends? Who were they?
Just a couple of brigands. We used to ambush the Margrave's messengers in Moravia together.
Nice friends you keep.
I was in dispute with the Margrave. A man in my position finds himself mixed up with all sorts.
And then what?
Rapota and I had been living off stale crusts for a month. So I wasn't going to turn down the chance of work, honest or otherwise. We rode to Sasau and met with the recruiters. It didn't take long to realize I was a nobleman fallen on hard times, not some common peasant.
Can you get to the point?
Well, they introduced me to this Eric, and he told me what was needed. They set up the workshop, got the men, the supplies, everything.
Crimps? You're telling me this Eric is recruiting armed men in Sasau?
Well, it seems so. I was giving the recruiters some of the coins to do it. The fake ones, of course.
Where can I find the recruiting gang?
That's tricky. It was my friends who led me to them. We met with them in the woods next to Sasau. It's about who you know, as always.
You said you gave them money. Where was that?
They'd ride to the mine gallery to see me. I don't suppose you'd find them there now.
If you say so. This Eric, you reckon he's not the one in charge?
He puts on airs, but he's just a naive young pup. And he's always going on about his lord, though he never mentioned him by name.
Where can I find this Eric? You must have had some meeting place.
He used to come to the workshop unannounced. And after what's happened, I doubt he'll be showing his face there again.
This highly placed person at the monastery, what can you tell me about him?
I've no idea who he is, only that he's no small fry. After all, he handles the exchange of the forgeries in Passau.
I see. Is there anything else at all you can tell me about him?
No, he was supposed to supply me with materials too, but he backed out. Eric said he probably got cold feet.
That'll do me for the moment.
Will you put in a word for me with Sir Radzig? I'll swear allegiance to him if he'll have me. I'm sick of being a renegade.
I can try, but I can't promise you anything.
God watch. Good luck then.
Yeah.
Vegetables.
Baked goods, fresh.
you came.
Greetings.
God be with you.
So what have you learned?
All sorts of things. There's some foreigner called Eric behind the counterfeiting ring, and someone highly placed at the monastery.
The monastery? Really?
That's what Yezhek claimed.
So it's worse than I thought. If this is true, we'll have to proceed with the utmost caution.
Why? Can't we just go to the monastery to investigate?
No. If the church is truly involved, I have no authority.
But if someone at the monastery is perpetrating crimes against the crown...
True enough. Why don't I go and arrest King Sigismund of Luxembourg while I'm about it? He's committed a crime or two as well. I'll have to think about it. It won't be an easy nut to crack. I'll have to consult with Hanush. And what of this Eric? Who is he?
I don't know, but he's recruiting armed men in Sasau and forming an army.
Damn! So it looks like Plibislavitz wasn't the end of it.
It most certainly wasn't, sir. And what's more, Sir Yezhek is convinced this Eric is only a go-between, and there's someone bigger behind him.
You should return to Sasau and take a closer look at those recruiters. If they're going to attack, we must find out sooner than last time.
It might not be as straightforward as that. Sir Yezhek didn't know them and has no idea how to find them.
You'll have to manage somehow, my lad. Don't tell me there's an armed force amassing here and nobody knows anything. Go to Sasau and try to find them.
I think I know where I could ask. I helped at the infirmary in Sasau, and there was a wounded man there by the name of Thomas, a suspicious type to say the least. He might know something.
Good. I'd rather see you seeking out better company, but that can't be helped. Whatever you do, be careful, Henry. And best not mention my name. It would attract unwelcome attention. What we want is for the crimps to take you for just another village lad they can lure into their gang.
All right, sir. I'll try to blend in as best I can.
I know I'm asking a lot of you, but I know of no one else who could help as much as you can now.
Sir, there's one more thing. Sir Yezhek went with me without resistance, because I promised him he could come to an agreement with you.
My boy, my boy. You make promises in my name? That could turn out very badly for both of us. But if it can prevent bloodshed, why the hell not? We may well come to some arrangement after all, but I can't say yet what will become of him. You'd better run along.
As you command.
Welcome, Henry!
Good to see you, lad. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I am at your service, Sir Knight.
Are there any
Nothing I've heard about.
Are there any
Nothing I've heard of.
Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
And what's your idea of suspicious?
Have you heard of anyone looking to hire some rough men?
Mercenaries, you mean?
Yes.
There were some fellows conspiring here in the corner twice a week, and others coming and going. They didn't look entirely respectable, but they never made any trouble.
And what happened to them?
I don't know, they just stopped coming. And I haven't seen hide nor hair of them since.
You haven't heard anything about where they went?
How could I have? They just stopped coming, and that's that.
Where do you think they might be meeting now?
How should I know? I'm an honest innkeeper, not a man-at-arms. They could be meeting at another inn. They could be meeting in the woods by the light of the moon, for all I know.
Is there any way I'll recognize them?
Unquenchable thirst. They drank like fish. They were rough-looking, too. Big-bearded and scruffy. Aside from that, they mostly kept to themselves.
That's not much help. What did they do while they were waiting for someone?
They drank. And they played dice. I do remember there were always dice on the table.
So they were fond of dice, were they? And where would you find a game around here?
Anywhere there's dice and usually drink. That's all you need for a game. Although it dawns on me now, I never saw Simon with those men, oddly enough. He's got a nose for drunken dice players with a coin to lose.
Simon who?
Why, the young miller. He runs Catzick Mill. Neighbours are always slandering him for trafficking, but who knows? Maybe he just has a knack for business.
You don't know where I might find some more dishonest...
And why would you want them?
But they'd be the ones to know what reputable townsfolk don't.
I grant you that. Well, we don't have an executioner, just a knacker. But he's an odd fellow. Like any knacker, I suppose.
What can you tell me about the knacker?
Decent folk don't talk about him. He deals in...
I was hoping you'd tell me a bit more.
Why should I care about him? He lives in a house.
What can you tell me about...
There's not much to tell.
Anything else?
You might not find him at the mill. He's a busy man, always out and about making some deal or other.
Thank you for the help.
Not at all. But why off so... Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good boy. That's... Little... You'll...
Oh, that's you.
How are you doing? Feeling better yet?
Aye, much better. I'm truly grateful. A bit longer and I'll be able to run back to the woods and carry on. Well, never mind. Very kind of you to look in on me.
Truth be told, I didn't come just for your health.
What do you need?
Well, I've heard tell there's work for fearless men who enjoy a bit of silver.
Ah, I believe I can help you with that. They used to frequent the tavern, but now they meet in the church.
The church?
Aye, that's right. The church is locked at night, but if you see a light, the door will be open. Go in there and wait. Say a prayer or something, and then you'll see.
That's it? I don't need to speak to anyone?
Just doing what I told you is enough. They'll give you a good look over and see if you've got the metal. Don't you worry about that.
All right, thank you.
You took care of me, why wouldn't I help you? Tit for tat, eh? God be with you.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Laudable.
What was that noise?
Yeah! 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 Yeah.
God grant you.
I'm in
And what is it you'd like?
proper.
I'm sure God be with.
Yeah.
Sausages, meat of all shapes, sizes and flavours.
Yeah.
Greetings, good night.
If your husband is murdered, our sausages will be here. Come and get them.
Henry. God be with you. God be with you.
Can I do anything to help?
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in
Amen.
heaven. What?
So,
You've been looking for us, eh? What is it you want?
I hear you're hiring men who don't mind getting their hands dirty.
Is that so? And where did you hear that?
Taverns and the like? People talk?
Well, that's a pretty tale. But no one in any tavern told you to come here and wait, did they? So let's have it. Who told you?
I don't recall his name, but he was one of your friends. He said that he couldn't take me straight to you, that I had to go through the church.
He was right about that. But he still said more than he should have.
I know my way around. You won't go wrong with me.
Spare me the boasting. I've got a test ready for you. Let's see how you handle it before you tell us how wonderful you are.
What test?
Nothing complicated. We used to take anyone who looked like they could keep their head on straight. But not now. Now you can only join if you do what we tell you.
Which is what? Steal something?
Nah, not theft. If you want to join us, you have to kill Pius.
Who's Pius? And why should I kill him?
That's none of your business. But I'll tell you anyway, because it's an instructive tale. Pius was one of us, but he fucked up.
How? Did he steal something?
Yeah, that was part of it. Stole some money, ran away. A few boys died over it. Showed a distinct lack of loyalty. And as soon as he's dead, you can join us.
Who's Pius? And why should I kill him?
That's none of your business. But I'll tell you anyway, because it's an
How?
Yeah, that was part of it. Stole some...
I have to find him first.
You don't need to find him. We know where he is.
Then why haven't you killed him yourselves?
It's quite a test. He's hiding in a monastery.
With the stable boys? It's not hard to get into the grounds.
No, not there. Well, he would have been dead long since. He's in the, cloister, or whatever it is.
But only monks can get in there.
Just monks and Pius. He's an educated bastard. Seems he used to be a priest, but it didn't quite work out.
And how am I supposed to get into the cloister?
You'll think of something. Maybe there's a secret passage. I've heard there's some cave underneath. The cave of St. Procopius. There might be a way into it from outside.
And do you have any other ideas besides secret passages?
Well, there is this one fellow been hanging around the taverns. Supposed to join the monastery soon. Might be he could help you somehow. I'd try talking to him if I were you. And if he doesn't help, knock him on his ass and take anything he's got that you could use to pass yourself off as him. A letter of admittance to the monastery, or whatever.
Murder someone in a monastery? Have you gone mad?
Murder's a sin as it is. Doesn't really matter where you do it.
Yes, it does. I'd be spilling blood on hallowed ground.
Well then, knock him senseless, drag him outside, and finish him off where it's less sacred. I don't give a damn where you do it, just as long as he ends up dead.
And do you have any other test?
We're not hiring stable boys. We want men who are prepared to do anything. And this is the toughest task we've got.
So how many men have you already sent?
Just a handful.
And what happened to them? Did they hang?
Just the first one. The others turned tail. Guess they didn't have the stomach for it.
How will I recognize Pius?
He won't have been there long. He should be the only new one there.
But what if there are others? What does he look like?
Normal. He always went about well dressed and had a fine-looking dagger.
Yes, except he'll be given a robe and they'll take his knife.
Then you'll have to try and figure out which one of the novices it is, and get him to betray himself. Try getting him drunk. Then send him straight to hell.
Get him drunk? In a monastery?
Where better? There's more wine there than in the royal cellars. And I doubt he's suddenly stopped drinking.
Fine. So I've got to kill Pius. He's in the cloister, and to get into the cloister, I'll need to enlist the help of some boy who's joining the order, right?
More or less. And now the main thing.
The main thing is to kill him, isn't it?
Of course. But that's not all. All hell's gonna break loose in the monastery after the murder. So, either make sure nobody finds him, or hightail it out of there quick as soon as the job's done. But better if they don't find him right away.
And what else? Should I come back here afterwards?
No. Before you run for it, take his special dice and bring it as proof that you killed him. And if you can get him to tell you where he hid the coin, bring that as well.
Bring his dice and the money if I find it. And where should I bring it?
From the monastery, head east across the river. There'll be a swamp where you'll find a fire pit. Go there at night and light a fire. Make it nice and big and we'll show up. Take the dice and the money, and then tell you where to report. Got it?
Right, I'm to slip into the best guarded place in the entire region and kill someone. Take his dice and money, and then go to the swamp and wait by the fire.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, you can at least say a few Hail Marys for me. I'm gonna need all the help I can get.
And remember, we'll be keeping tabs. So don't you try to run off, alright? God be with you.